Hello, this is part two of my thing that I did that I was talking about today about my drug, the consequences and stuff. So when I last left off, by the time you watching it, it could be a couple hours later or whatnot. But for me, it was only a couple minutes later. Doesn't matter. Thing is that I don't want this going more than 20 to 35 minutes because otherwise, I imagine watching a 35-minute video, you after a while you be like, oh my god, quit fucking talking. But anyway, I was talking about my probation. So what happened is jams. So you call, they make you do a breathalyzer, and then you drop right then and there. Now they switched to where it's same day testing, so you have a day to do it instead of the morning or night or whatever. You have it same day testing. Thing is, they're only open for a certain amount of time each day, like 3 to 4 hours each shift. So in the morning they're open from maybe like 6 in the morning to they may be open from like 6 to 10, and then later on at 4:30 to 7 or something like that. Times is different depending on the location. So what happened is it's $25. It's like $15 exact change. If you want to pay extra, they write you out a credit which they might forget about. So be careful with that one. If they want to drug test you, it's $25. It's $10 more for $25 if they want to drug test you. So after doing that for about a year and a half, on average, it's like 3 times a month. So that's $75 a month. Let it be a holiday. Sometimes I had to test Christmas Day, a holiday, or even the day after the holiday. That's where it gets really funny. And believe me, everybody had to test at the end after every holiday. So that means when you get in there, you better hope that it doesn't go too long. Because you got to hold your pee. If you're like me, you can't hold your pee for too long. Case in point. But anyway, if I had averaged all that, $75 a month times 24. That's 1,800. So that means all that was like $4,000, like 4,400 altogether. So imagine, it cost me like 5 to 6 grand altogether. Then I violated probation twice because I forgot to show up, so I had to pay extra money. Then I had to go to court and all this other stuff. So yeah, that was my fuck ups. But like I said, it is amazingly how much you had to do. Like for example, this one person, when I was going to AA, this one person they had a trip with their family to go to Florida. So what happened is that in order to get drug tested, they had to go to the drug testing facility down there. They'll charge them like $70. They charge the dude $70. So could you imagine the holiday plans I had or vacation plans I had? I just had to say, goodbye. Don't want to risk it. But anyway, it's one of those situations where you look up and it's like stuff happening. What's going to happen? I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, notifications on these phones are really awesome. Something like no, don't want to see that. Okay, fine. But like I said, it's the whole mentality of everything. Then AA, depending upon if you get a good group, if you get a good group of AA people, if you go to one of the good groups, it's just almost like being like around family. Some groups I went to, it was like fire and brimstone kind of stuff. Some things is like, well, hell, you're. Don't get me started on AA because that's a totally different matter. And maybe another video a long time ago, or sooner or later I might talk about it. If you have to go, it's one of those kind of things where it is amazingly sometimes helpful and harmful at the same time. But don't quote me on that one. That's just my opinion. But but on average, getting back to the point, it's a lot of cost. It's a lot. I lost technically because during my job during the spring to summer is overtime season where they let us work overtime. So guess what? I lost about 5 to 6 grand extra that I could have made because of this. That's one of the costs. You lose money. No matter what kind of job you have. No matter what kind of job you have, you will lose money. And that means the ability to make money, not to spend it. Because guess what? You got to go to these things. You got to go to AA. So depending upon what AA group you go to, you could, true, they have sessions day and night, and sometimes even online. But the thing is that this whole thing costs you money. It costs you money. And you sitting around here and it's like, you look up and it's like, oh, alcohol, you're drunk driving, did all this. And like, yeah, you know what it did? It made me lose money. But what you going to do about it? Here's the question. What are you going to do about it? Nothing you can do. Just like me, you put yourself in this situation. And the thing is that after a while, you have to look up and say, you know what? I fucked up. Sooner or later, you have to come to the realization that you totally fucked up. My goal was to have $10,000 to $15,000 in the bank saved up, so I could walk to the car dealership and say, 10 grand on a new car. Awesome. That was my goal. Nope. Guess what? And the funny thing is, after everything's said and done, after you pay all that stuff off, it takes you a while to build it back up because you got extra things to do, like AA. Like I said, there's a totally new video on that later. I might record it tomorrow or wait till next week. I don't know. I'm tired. After a while, you'll get tired of doing all this shit. You will get tired. And the thing is that I'm not saying this to scare people. It's just a precautionary tale. And believe me, when I say this, and I'm being very honest about this, I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I don't want to wish this on my worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? And that's saying something. Whew. Sometimes it will cost you relationships, because guess what? You don't have money to take your old lady out. Old lady, that's funny. You don't have time to take your girl out. You don't have time to chill. You don't have time to hang out with the buddies. Saying the truth, you want to hang out with the buddies. They want to go club hopping. You can't. You can go club hopping sometimes, but the problem is you can't drink. Because as soon as you take that first drink, guess what? You violated probation, bro. Or broette. You violated. Bam. And you be sitting very back, and then what happens? You have to pay more money just to get back on. I don't know about you, but I cannot afford to take 90 days in jail. I can't afford it. So if you can afford to, what the hell is that? If you can afford to to spend 90 days in jail, if you can afford that, then go right ahead. I can't afford that. But anyway, I couldn't spend time with a lot of my friends because guess what? I had to. Oh, I gotta get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I had to get up at 5 o'clock to call a fucking phone number, and then I gotta rush. Now, don't let your car break down in the middle of all this. If your car breaks down, it's even more hectic. My car broke down. My car broke down a couple times, and during this whole process, like once or twice. Once it was okay. The first time was okay because I had a ride, and I had ways to get there and back. The second time I broke down, no. What happens? What happened was I called. I got up at 5 o'clock. Took my phone. Called the number just like this. Damn, I gotta go in. Also, if you had to do drug and alcohol testing with jams, and if you had to take a pee, if you had to pee as a test, make sure you have something in your tank to pee. But what happened is I look up and was like, oh man, I had a Gatorade. Had a Gatorade that kind of like this, sitting in the car. Sitting in the car in the house. All right. I downed this on the way there. I downed it on the way there. Then within about 10 to 15 minutes, I should be ready to go. Give you that sample. Oh, I got to stop off at the bank. Okay, so I got to stop off at the bank. Make sure I have the money. Boom. All right, cool. Start the car. Car would not start. Uh-oh. Damn. Tried it 2 more times. The car wouldn't start. So I was like, oh man. So now, not only do I have to try to get my car fixed, I just violated because I couldn't take the drug test. And I found out it was moisture that got into the battery cables, which didn't allow it to start. So at the end of there, because of that, I had to pay extra like $20 to $80 because I violated because I didn't take the test. Oh, and when I went to the probation officer, you know what they said? You could have taken a cab. You could have Ubered there, or Lyft. You could have did that. Think about this. Not only am I paying you $20, $25, I gotta pay an extra $30, up to $30 just to Uber. Seriously? Or a cab, which is gonna cost me more money? Are you serious with that? Wow. Wow. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating because you work and a portion of your money is going to to the courts, drug testing facilities, all that. All because you drove home drunk. All because you drove home drunk. Do you, can you imagine the frustration I have? Or I had during that whole time period? Oh my gosh. The slightest incident. You go to the drug testing facility, jams. You sit in there. How long does it take for you to freaking pee? Not long. But what happened is, if the person back there, jibber jabbering, not paying attention, Yeah, now you understand. But anyway, as you see, even though this is over for me, even though the whole scenario is over for me, it is, but it's still frustrating as all hell. So, with that being said, like I said, if you want to drive after drinking, that's your call. I'm not going to try to condemn you, or condone it, whatever. But the thing is, just remember, it's your responsibility to take action. Well, it's like a little after 16 minutes. I've been talking. If you add those two, I basically did almost a 45 minute video of me talking about the consequences of a DUI for me. And also, I did this also so that way I know what I'm going to expect. See, the third time, I don't know about where you are, but the third time is an automatic felony, which means I could potentially lose the job I have. This one person had a medical license. He could he could prescribe medication because he was a psychiatrist or something like that. Lost his license. They yanked his license. So he lost his job. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole scam. I mean, he lost his job. So what happened is he had to pay off. He got a felony, which means because he had a felony, he lost his job as a professional therapist or something like that. Lost his license, so that means he couldn't prescribe medicine. So being all that money he spent on this guy spent on trying to make a career and working at it for 10 to 15 years, it's gone. Pay us 10 grand. How am I going to pay 10 grand? Not working. I just lost my job. Well, that's your problem. You see what I'm saying? It's always your problem. But the thing is, you want us to do all this shit, but it's your problem. I can understand accepting I mean, hell, they could have said, you know what? Instead of giving you a felony, we'll fine you 10. Okay, they should have said, you know what? I got a choice. I could sign you a felony, which you potentially might lose your job, or I might charge you $10,000 more money. Which one would you want? I bet you a lot of people said, find me the $10,000 more, because that way the money I'm making will help pay for that. Like my job, if I'd have lost my job, I probably would not be able to pay that shit off. And believe me, one person in my AA group, she was on probation for 5-7 years because she couldn't afford to pay it because she was working, minimum wage jobs. So, I mean, they fuck you over for a fucking mistake. And the thing is, a lot of times when the cops, you can tell, they thinking, oh, I got myself a drunk driver. Cha-ching. And it's not, you see the disappointment in it. You can see sometimes they might still keep that happy face, but you can tell they're disappointed because that's big money for them. Drunk driving is big money. Do you know how big drunk driving money is for them? If I had to pay $5,000 to $7,000, imagine the holiday weekend where they pull people over all the time. If they get 20 people, that's 10 grand, 10 to 15 grand they just made in a weekend. That they make off of you. Think about it. It's money. And the funny thing is, there's nothing. If you get caught, there's nothing you can do about it. I saw this video one of my subscribers. His name is Benjamin, I think. Oh well, I can't remember offhand. Sorry. If your name is Benjamin, I'm sorry for outing you for subscribing, or if it's not, I'm not sure. But the thing is, he doesn't live in this country, so he has where he lives. I would like to see him do a video about how drunk driving is in his country, and I'll be like, fuck. fucking, from what I've been talking to him about through YouTube, it's fucking insane. But in here in Michigan, it's fucked up. But could you imagine how much money they could generate? And guess what? If you can't afford to pay it, guess what? You violate, you go to jail. And you owe them more money on top of that. So guess what? It's a potentially money making. It's like a Ponzi scheme that is actually legal. It's like a legal money multi-level marketing Ponzi style scheme. And the funny thing is, fucking idiots like me and some other people who get busted for drunk driving gets caught in it, and you're like, damn, motherfucker. Well, that's it. I'm kind of done talking about this right now because I'm getting upset because I'm starting to have flashbacks. I'm getting triggered. But I need something mindless to do, and I don't feel like sleeping. I should just go to sleep because I need it. But anyway, if you like, leave a message, or leave a message, not leave, leave a comment, and I'll comment back. Once I find out that someone made a comment, I always comment back because I like the feedback, and I like to help my. See, thing is, I don't necessarily do this for myself. I do this for myself, so that way I know I'm a fucking mess. But if I can help somebody else, that's one thing. If I can agree with some other people, that's awesome. But otherwise, talk to you guys later. Goodbye.